Hello folks, welcome to Uplifted. This is June 9th, and no, I don't change my clothes. You're gonna see this shirt for 4 days in a row, but actually we're recording this all together. And I started last time with kind of laying the foundation of this idea that we're gonna be talking about the fruit of the Spirit. The works of the flesh, this list of really a lot of sins, a lot of things that are in our hearts. And actually what I was talking about was before we got saved, these are a lot of things we were involved in. After salvation, hopefully we're going to work on these things coming about. However, what we found out is, and actually when in Genesis chapter 1, when God created, amazingly, interestingly, but this was purposeful, that God did this, and there's a lesson in Genesis chapter 1. He started with chaos. The earth was out form and void. If you saw last lesson, you heard that. If you didn't see last lesson, I want you to understand the default is chaos in our life. The default is the works of the flesh. These will just happen naturally. Fruit, you have to put in some work. And the question I ask, and I'd love you to do some kind of deep self-reflection of you and your life, your heart, really. And how's your garden? In Proverbs, it talks about a man, and actually it's very wise to learn from wise people. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So not only can we learn from wise, which that's a wise thing to do, well, it also talks about I believe a young man that went to the vineyard of the sluggard, and it was all grown over with weeds, and the walls had broken down, and there's no fruit there. So not only can we learn from the wise, we can also learn from, in this case, the sluggard, but we can also learn from the wicked. But I want you to take a look. How is your heart? How is your garden? The garden takes work. The garden takes toil. It takes planting, and it takes watering. But as I begin to, I want to create a garden in my backyard. Well, I talked about a unattended bedroom. You know what? It doesn't get cleaner. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. An unattended garden is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. An unattended heart is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Actually, this happens by default. This over here, and I hate to tell you this takes some work. This takes some spiritual planting, some spiritual watering, some spiritual seeds. This is going to take some toil. But when you do these things, and they're spiritual things, you will start to see amazingly fruit popping up in your life. These things starting to pop up in your life. But here in Galatians, I want to take a look back a little bit, even before. Now, verse 19, and I just put the list up here of verse 19, 20, and I think into 21. These are the works of the flesh that come natural. And then 22 and 23 is a list of the fruit of the Spirit. But we're going to jump back a little bit, and I want to take a look at Galatians 5, verse 17. Well, actually, take a look at 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. So I want you to take a little bit of a look. Hopefully you can see. These are contrary one to another. See, if you have these, you can't have these, because really they're contrary one to another. If you have these in your heart, you can't have these. In fact, if you take a look, just look at, well, we're going to look at this in more detail next time, but I just want you to take a look at love. If you have the spirit of fruit of love in your heart, in your life, I'm not going to erase these, but look at the ones we can erase. If you have true love for your spouse, we don't have to worry about this one. Adultery's gone. Fornication's gone. Uncleanness is gone. Lascivious is not gone. Hatred is gone. And we could actually erase these. Variance would be gone if you have love in your heart. True love. Wrath would be gone. Strife would be gone. If you have the love for the Lord, heresies would be gone. Envyings would be gone. And revelings. Wow. Love will take care of, actually, I probably point about half of these works of the flesh would literally be gone. You wouldn't have to worry about those anymore. If you would have the fruit of the Spirit of love. We'll go right down the line. Joy. Just these two we're going to take a look at. If you would have joy, again, hatred would probably be gone. Drunkenness would be gone. You don't need alcohol and you don't need drugs because you have the joy in your life. Envyings, seditions would be gone. Wrath would be gone if you had joy. Right down the line, peace, gentleness, wow. Faith, meekness, temperance. We could go right across the way here, and if you have these in your life, these disappear, which is awesome. But they're contrary-wise. If you've got these in your heart, you're going to have a real problem with these. Those can't come in. In fact, it mentions that. They are contrary one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Again, we talked about, just a little bit, we talked about today in America. There's a spirit on the streets of America. And unfortunately, and I guess, you know what? On Wednesday night, I talked about some broken souls. If you were here, you heard that message. And you might have seen it online. And I'm afraid some of those broken souls, maybe we had something to do with it. Not you and me individually, but maybe as a nation. Maybe some of the policies that have been out there in the past. Maybe we had something to do with, as society, breaking some of those souls. And as Christians, we're the ones that are supposed to be out there soul winning, seeing people saved, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, Jesus said. Teaching these people, you know what? There's something other than just the flesh. There's something other than the works of the flesh. There's the works of the Spirit. There is love. There is joy. There can be unity in your life. The hatred you have can be gone. The fruit of the Spirit, you can get rid of all these murders and drunkenness and envyings and revelings and variance and obviously some of the sexual sins that are plaguing America today. We can get rid of all these things.
I am so glad I heard my Savior gently pleading. Now I'm an heir and child of God, I truly know. All the way home His precious hand is daily leading. It's a grand and glorious feeling as I go. It's a grand and glorious feeling, just to be a child of God. All His love comes over me stealing, making my pathway brighter grow as on I plod. Every day I'll tell the old story, of His love, I'll ever see. What a grand and glorious feeling. just to be walking and to be talking with my King, with my King. Jesus is mine, and to his hand I'm ever clinging. I am so glad I plunged beneath the crimson flow. As I press on the homeward way, my soul is singing. It's a grand and glorious feeling as I go. Happy am I along the way to life eternal. Jesus has saved and washed my soul as white as snow. Some of these days I'll reach my wondrous home supernal. It's a grand and glorious feeling as I go. It's a grand and glorious feeling, glorious feeling, just to be a child of God. All his love comes over me stealing, making my pathway brighter grow as on I plod. Every day I'll tell the old story, I will tell the old story of his love, I'll ever sing. What a grand and glorious feeling, just to be walking and to be talking with my King, with my King. It's a grand and glorious feeling, just to be a child of God. All his love comes over me stealing, making my pathway brighter grow as on I plod. Every day I'll tell the old story, I will tell the old story of his love, I'll ever see. What a grand and glorious feeling, just to be walking and to be talking with my King, with my King. Just to be walking and to be talking with my King.